Hey guys, it's Kate. This is Cat Vintage, and today we are out thrifting at a small community charity shop in Sooke, BC. First thing, before I even get in the door, I found this sweet little Ikebana flower frog floral arrangement, like pot. Very cool color. It's like a chartreusey kind of like yellow thing, and it has the spike flower frog in it. Then also outside, I can't help but browse through these linens. This quilted thing caught my eye at first, but honestly, there wasn't a ton out here. There were some cute Afghans, but most of them looked newer. The ones that looked older definitely looked older, so nothing super epic out here today. So in we go. I always love to start with knickknacks. Knickknacks, little tchotchkes and figurines are one of my favorite things. I can't help but just absolutely love the kitsch factor. And the first one that I have to pick up is this mid-century chalkware figurine. I don't know. Cool. This guy was very cool. They did normally come in pairs with like a man and a woman. And unfortunately, he was chipped. So he gets put back on the shelf. Then browsing through, I find this beautiful Joseph's original, or Joseph's, however you're meant to pronounce it. I'm honestly not entirely sure. She had her tag still attached to her, which was very, very cool. You can see the little paper tag there. Unfortunately, she did have some chips. You can actually see the little chip on her hand there. She had some chips to the flowers, which is obviously pretty common. Had it been a little cheaper than $5.50, I may have considered getting it regardless, but for that, I did end up leaving it. Next, I peeked inside that little vintage globe butter dish. Yeah, see, I completely missed that thing. I don't know how I missed it. I'm checking out this little porcelain vase, which does have a chip, but I actually have sold this brand before. It's a Canadian company called Cherish Porcelain. But yeah, completely bypassed, completely never even noticed that horsehair pottery. Oh, and that little butter dish, going back to that, it was actually missing the glass insert. Otherwise, I may have gotten it. Those actually do sell quite consistently for me. Next, I was looking at this pub ashtray. This one is made by Wade's, and it was very cool. It was definitely an older, like, British pub ashtray, but had a lot of scratching on it. And then moving over, I found this melamine one, which was very cool as well. It was a little more. I kind of wish I maybe had gotten it. $3.50 was a little on the high end. They don't sell for a ton, but it was actually in really good shape. There wasn't a ton of scratching, so. Next, I check out all the glassware, the clear glass, the crystal. Generally, looking for those certain names, certain brands, and anything that just has that extra sparkle to it. I do see this perfume bottle, which I really liked, even though it was missing its like hose and the ball. It was only $2.50, which was really reasonable, but as I'm mulling it over and giving it a feel up, it actually had quite a few little chips where some of the cutting, like some of the cuts were. So that was a bit of a disappointment, because I probably would have sprung for that, because people don't mind, replacing the balls and stuff like that. Then this guy actually had some nice sparkle to it. They had it priced at $8.50, and it did have some cut elements to it, but as soon as I picked it up, I actually felt a chip on the rim. Then this section here is assorted housewares. You never know what you're gonna find on these shelves. There's plates, there's canisters, sometimes they'll have, different like figurines and stuff here. Like this ends up being a bit of a mishmash of pieces. There wasn't anything super cool except for this studio pottery little vase planter. I'm not entirely sure if there maybe was something else that went on the top, but as pretty as it was, I don't do very well with most studio pottery unless it's super epic. So I generally don't pick it up unless it's something that really vibes. So now this is cool. This is an adjustable jigger, like pourer for like a liquor bottle. The top piece there where you see the spout actually screws, like it twists out, and that gets longer, and it measures out your liquor as you pour it. It actually has an extra cork in it. The thing's like brand new, and it comes in this little case. It has the instruction pamphlet and everything. It was very cool. And then this is hubby. He brought me over a really cool little grab bag. He picked it up, I think, because it has that skeleton tile in it. I love the Mexican skeletons. I actually did buy that bag. So then I'm looking at these salt and pepper section. These are like the spun aluminum. They're very they're super cool. They wanted $2.50 for the pair. They were pretty beat up. I did think about getting them for myself just because I like the aluminum shakers, but ended up leaving them. That one was just a unique shape, so I kind of felt compelled to have a peek at that one to see what if it was marked or anything, because it had a little bit of like a Danish sort of Scandinavian vibe. So then over here we have a bunch of cutlery, and then we have a bunch more of these like random little grab bags, like what my husband brought over and showed me. So I poke around through these, trying to see if there's anything kind of awesome and worthy. This one I mulled over for a little bit because these napkin rings actually, even through the plastic, they kind of had a little bit of a different feel to them. I thought for a minute maybe they could have been like older Bakelite, but as I looked at them more, I could actually see a seam mark on them. So don't think those were anything super special. The bright colors caught my eye. It's like the magpie effect. And then as I wander over into the kitchen gadgets, I see this. This is the cutest thing. Its face is all like gnarly. It looked like, I don't know if it was just chipped or whatever, but it was actually a shaker on the top as well as a corkscrew. It was the most random thing, but I ended up putting it back, which was weird. I honestly wish I'd gotten it and just like done something with it. This, I'm not entirely sure what this is. I think that's a recipe for like crepes or something. So maybe this is some sort of like a extension to a crepe pan, or I'm not sure. But it looked older, and so I gave it the once over. I didn't get it though. I'm honestly unsure what it really is for. So glass rolling pins. I absolutely love glass rolling pins. And these were a good price, but unfortunately those aren't the original caps on the ends, right? Because these are the ones that you would put ice or ice water in, or you chill them, however you do it. They would have come with like a metal cap. Sometimes some of them had like old plastic Bakelite caps. Those ones someone actually had just fashioned or found some like juice and milk caps that fit on the ends. So had they had the original caps, I would have 100% grabbed those because I absolutely love the glass rolling pins. That was it's a little ravioli making pan. Not sure why I was so interested in that. And then this is very cool. I've sold these quite a few times. These the Mouli grater, Mouli shredder, Mouli julienne. Comes with the different plates for the different size of like grate and shred, but this one was missing its handle. It has a handle piece that goes in the top so that you can turn it, and unfortunately it was missing, so I had to leave that behind. Otherwise I probably would have grabbed it for $2.50. And then here, this pièce de la résistance. Absolutely some of the coolest patterns on these flat pack gift wraps. Like they're mostly bridal themed. There are some kind of like baby themed ones, or maybe, yeah, that's a bridal theme on that one. Actually has a little cherub on it though. They're so cool. There's 17 of them. I ended up getting them all for $1 a piece, even though some of them were marked at $1.50. She just let me have them all for $1 a piece, which was very cool. They're not super valuable, but old vintage wrapping papers, especially when it's new old stock, like they do really well. They sell very consistently, and some of those patterns are just killer. Like that purple floral umbrella one is very, very funky. And then the other one with the bride and groom, they actually look so much like Barbie and Ken. So I honestly, I had to get them all. Then I see these ones here, which were also older. At first I was going to get them, but then I realized that even though the paper is sealed, they actually originally had a bow that went with them. So I did opt to put those back. If they still had the bow, I probably would have grabbed it anyways. And now in hindsight, I honestly probably should have grabbed it anyways. The design, the nursery rhyme design was very cute, but I was thrilled with all those other ones. Then this is another tchotchke shelf, and this is such a cool little vase. It is marked on the bottom, somewhat abstractly, has Italian vibes to it though, and I really, really wanted to get it. It did have some chips around the top of it though, which was a little heartbreaking. I probably could have done some touch-ups and disclosed that, and it would have been fine, but I try not to do the chippy thing unless it's something super epic and 100% worth it. These little souvenir wooden plates from Holland were very old and very cute. Had they actually just been the pictures and not actually said Holland on them, I probably would have grabbed them. I'm not entirely sure why the actual place name being on things, sometimes I don't really like. Depends on the place name. Some places it doesn't matter. And some places, certain destinations, they sell really well. So, but those, I left them. This I picked up because there was something about it that had a blue sky Clayworks kind of vibe to it. Looking at the base, it wasn't, but just the style of that glaze and that paint job had a blue sky feel, so. And then this little guy, he is one of those coil, like a desk organizer paper letter holder, and his little curly Q tail, you can hold a pen in it. I've actually picked up a few of those recently. I have a cat one, I have a weird abstract horse one that I just listed, and then now I have this little pig, and he's absolutely sweet. He still has his little eyeball attached and everything. This random thing, I have no idea. Sometimes when you see something that you don't know, you have to pick it up. So that I think was actually a filter for like some sort of like heavy equipment. This mug, I mean, the anthropomorphic, super jazzed little veggies are too cute. It does have the silvering scratches and stuff on the inside, but no chips or cracks, so clearly had to buy that just for the kitsch factor. I love this little strawberry corning pattern. There was only one of those though. It was a little worn. I probably could have cleaned it up quite well, but there was only one. For those ones, had I been able to find a pair, I probably would have picked them up. These super mod mid-century vibe, but I couldn't quite place the maker, couldn't figure out, and it looked like they probably went with like a hot chocolate or an espresso set. So I did debate those for a bit, but ended up leaving them behind. And then these guys, I thought they were ceramic at first, but they were actually milk glass, Spanish coffee. You see the Irish coffee a lot, but these ones were Spanish coffee. The designs were quite worn though, so. And then another Pyrex. In the last video, I believe, I picked up a Spring Blossom Pyrex mug, the identical one. That one was quite worn though, and the glass was actually very discolored, which was hard to see. This is another table. This is close to the front door. That was a cool little like cookie jar or something in the shape of a purse. And then these plates I pause over because I'm not super familiar with Fiesta ware, but it had that look, right? A little bit of that Fiesta ware look. So I took a moment just to double check, because That's honestly not something I've ever found up here. I see people in the US finding it all the time elsewhere, but I've never actually found Fiesta ware in the wild here myself. So it's kind of one of those thrift bolos for me, even though it's not an epic find all the time. This is a nice little shelf of, I suppose it's some of their kind of maybe featured items, but there were some interesting pieces on here that this one in particular. What's the name? Oh God, I can't remember. Mitzi something. I'll put it up. And then this was a Wedgwood piece. That dog-shaped handle was so cool. It's very cool, like super cool looking piece, but it had this big gnarly chip on the side. Like country farm scene. Couldn't do it with the chip. And this is a Bombay and Company. This is a little single serve teapot, right? And you put the candle in it to keep your tea warm. It was very cool, actually. I'm not entirely sure why I didn't get it. Don't think it was worth a ton, but Bombay stuff has a following and it sells very well for me. And then here is a Capodimonte. This is an actual signed Capodimonte piece, which was exciting. You see them quite a bit, but there are other, sort of like off-brands, like that one to the side is just like a no-name sort of, Capodimonte knockoff. This one was a legit Capodimonte, but of course it was chipped. So even though it was reasonable, I did end up leaving it behind. And then that was it for the shop. So now enjoy the haul.